If the Big 12's not going to give us a preseason media poll, then I'll do it. But yeah, some of you guys are going to be mad.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Richie Bradshaw, your guide, your expert, your friend for all things Sun Devils, from the gridiron to the hardwood and everything in between. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Okay, so look, on today's show, we're going to make it nice and simple. We don't get a preseason poll, so I'm going to give you mine. I'm going to rank these teams 1 to 16. Number one's not going to surprise you. I am going to make my all-conference preseason team. Feel like that one might stir the pot a little bit. Before we round out with my shot at who leads the conference in statistics and major awards for the conference, I know that one. It's going to make a lot of people mad. But before we get started, thanks to each and every single one of you for tuning into Locked On Sun Devils to make us your first listen of the day. And a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. So the Big 12 has decided no preseason media poll. To which I said, boo Wendy, boo Wendy, boo Wendy Testerberger, boo. It stinks, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's a preseason poll. It means literally nothing. Like, was it cool that I got to vote on it last year? Yeah, it was really cool that I got to vote on it last year, and I got to have my opinions put out there with other people in the media. That's really cool, but they're not doing it this year, so that's okay because I'm just going to use Locked On Sun Devils to put mine out there. And when I look at this conference, so one of the things that I've said before, and I will continue to say, there's a lot of parity in this conference. And it's a very good thing for college football. It's what makes the Big 12 so fun. It's what makes the Big 12 the best conference in America. Is it top heavy? No, not at all. Are there a ton of national title contenders? I wouldn't say so, but there's a lot of teams who could win this conference. There's a lot of teams who could make the playoffs, even if they don't win the conference. And there's a lot of teams that are going to ruin each other's seasons. It's beautiful. It's perfect. Everything down to the last minute details. I love the Big 12. Ranking these teams 1 to 16 was not the easiest thing in the world that I have had to do. In fact, I look at this thing now and there's like some that I disagree with, but we're going to stick with what I have. And I still feel good about what I have. And 1 to 16, it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world to do. This is going to end up looking very wrong. Last year, ASU was picked dead last, 16th. They finished first. There's a good chance that 1 or 2 or 3 of these teams place much higher and that other teams place much lower than I have them in my poll. But we'll take a shot. We're going to go ahead and start off with my top 6. And these are the teams that I think are very legitimate contenders for the Big 12 crown. Number 1, it's not a surprise. It's Arizona State. It's not even a bias thing. They're returning almost the entire roster. They just went to the college football playoff. They just made a big-time statement by going toe-to-toe with Texas, which is a blue blood in college football. The roster's back. The coaching staff is back. That team is primed to run it back. It blows my mind, not as an ASU fan, that they're not a heavyweight favorite to win the conference. Yeah, teams behind them got better. Some of them got significantly better. But they are running with different-looking teams. And even the ones that are returning a lot are just not as good as ASU. ASU is head and shoulders above this conference until further notice. Number 2, speaking of teams that did a lot of work in the offseason, Texas Tech. I'm very impressed with what the Red Raiders did this offseason. They pulled in an insane amount of highly touted transfers. None more so than David Bailey, and get ready to hear his name a lot for the remainder of this podcast. Edge rusher, he could potentially be a first-round pick in the 2026 class for the NFL. It's a special player, but they loaded up the trenches, both sides of the ball. The offensive line looks better. The defensive line looks stout. They're bringing back guys like Jacob Rodriguez at linebacker. Baron Morton is back at quarterback. And to me, that's one of the biggest factors in why I have Texas Tech up here. Because, yeah, you made this team much better, but you're bringing back the quarterback. Texas Tech, number 2 for me. Number 3, Kansas State. Tomorrow on Locked On Sun Devils, I'm sitting down with Locked On Kansas State host Christian Rao, and we're going to talk about why the Wildcats seem to be overlooked right now. Maybe that's me. I feel like a lot of people are focused on every other team in the conference, and Kansas State's being slept on a little. But they're bringing back Avery Johnson, their quarterback, which, again, you bring back your quarterback, I feel really good about your chances. They also have Bryson Washington at running back. They loaded up their receiving room. Their defense looks good. They might have the best special teams unit in the conference. Big time fan of them. We will. Oh crap! I was talking about a different team. That's embarrassing. Yeah, we'll get to that team in a second. Let's try again. Talking about Kansas State this time. They've got Dylan Edwards back at running back. They've got some good players on defense. They've also got some pretty solid special teams. Kansas State, number 3 for me. Number 4, I'm making a pivot right now because I just can't. I can't justify this. Plus, I just talked about him subliminally. Baylor. I am very high on Baylor, and I have said that Baylor is, at least a few months ago, they were my pick to contend the most with ASU to win the conference, and I picked them to meet ASU in the Big 12 title game. So I'm not backing off on that for now, but Texas Tech does, oh man, I go back and forth. It depends on the day. Some days it's Texas Tech, some days it's Baylor. But Sawyer Robertson, quarterback, is back. You noticing a trend here? He's really freaking good. He's got Bryson Washington at running back. He's got a good defense. And again, their special teams is absolutely phenomenal. Number 5, Iowa State. Hey, guess what? They're returning their quarterback. Rocco Becht is here. He is one of the top quarterbacks in the conference, not just a returning quarterback. But there's a lot of really good stuff going on with him right now. He is replacing his top 2 receivers, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll, but they added some guys in the transfer portal, and that defense is still really good. Jontez Williams and Jeremiah Cooper in that secondary. Sign me up. Number 6, BYU. BYU was number 4. I swapped them with Baylor. The biggest reason why is Jake Retzloff, their quarterback, is not going to play this year. It's an ongoing situation. It's a very fragile, very controversial situation. If you want to look into it, you can do it yourself. You can also check out Locked On Cougars, Locked On BYU with Jake Hatch, who has done some excellent coverage for it. But I don't cover BYU, and I'm not going to stick my toe into something that I don't know enough about. What I do know is BYU still has a very stingy defense. They still have receivers on offense to make plays, and they're still coached by Kalani Sitake. Number 6 for me. Those are my top tier of teams that I think are legitimate contenders in the conference. My next tier here are some teams that I think are maybe just on the outside looking in. These next 4 teams, 7 through 10, starting off with TCU. I'm big on TCU this year. I wanted to include them in that top tier. I might change my mind down the road. I might change my mind before the end of this segment. But Josh Hoover is back at quarterback, and they have the best recruiting class coming in for the freshman pool in this year's cycle. Back to Josh Hoover, though. Insanely underrated. Would not be surprised if he led the conference in passing yards. Him and Sonny Dykes are going to do some awesome things this year. Number 8, Utah. I do think Utah is going to rebound this year. I do not think Utah is going to contend for the title. I think that the quarterback they brought in, Devin Dampier, is solid. I think he's an elite runner. I think he's turnover prone as a quarterback. They have the best offensive line in the conference. It's not close. 2 first-round tackles with Spencer Fanow and Caleb Lomu. They've got a really good defense. Once again, they're going to be good. They're going to be much better than last year, but I do not believe that they're going to contend for the conference. Number 9, Kansas. As long as Jalen Daniels is healthy, he can get them as far as they can go. He was healthy last year. They rebounded very strong to end last season. They just need to be consistent from start to finish, but Lance Leopold is just a phenomenal coach. I think that they're going to be able to turn this thing around from a down year where I picked them to win the conference. Fun fact. Number 10, Colorado. I still like Colorado, and I'm very interested to see what goes on at quarterback with Juju Lewis, the incoming 4-star, 5-star quarterback, and then Keaton Salters, who transfers from Liberty. He's another elite runner. They're replacing Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter. Good luck with that. But they did bring in a lot of really good players, and I like some of the guys in the secondary who we'll talk about later. Next tier for me, it's really just two, maybe three teams that I think are, I wouldn't call them sleepers, but I do think they're bowl eligible. Number 11, West Virginia. I was not originally high on the Mountaineers. And after looking into them a little bit more, I'm very intrigued by them. There's a lot of turnover on this roster, but I think Rich Rod, who is back, was able to do a lot of retooling for that team. They're bringing back their star running back, Jaheim White, who has consecutive 800-yard seasons. I think he's going to do a lot more than that this year. There is stuff there that I like with West Virginia. I think as long as everything kind of conglomerates together, and that's a big if, they might be able to be a sneaky little team. And then number 12, Houston. I like Houston to go bowling this year, but it depends on the health of Connor Wegman. So obviously, former five-star quarterback, you hear that, you go, oh, so he's not good. It's not that he's not good, he's not healthy. And I do think that Houston is a better team on paper than they were on paper last year. And last year, they ended the season not bad. I mean, they took down Kansas State to essentially take them out of the Big 12 title competition. I think Houston's going to be much better this year. I think they could go bowling. Cincinnati, number 13 for me. Another team that I wasn't super high on, and clearly I'm not, but I still think they could be better than what I think they are. They've got some very good players on this team. Dante Corleone, defensive tackle. Yeah, he's he's one of the best defensive linemen in this conference. Phenomenal. I don't know if I see Cincinnati bowling. I think they're going to be close. They're going to be better than I think. All right, last three. The last three, I just think are bottom feeders in this conference. No surprise, number 14, U of A. No Fafita, congratulations. They brought in some guys through the transfer portal. I know that they want to see this recruiting class pop off a little bit. That's not going to be the case, especially while Brett Brennan is there as the head coach. He's terrible, which is why I hope he gets a lifetime extension. U of A is going to be bad this year. Number 15, Oklahoma State. It's so weird that Oklahoma State goes from one of the top contenders in the conference to second to last for me. And a lot of people have them finishing last. Brand new quarterback, brand new team. They brought back 21 of 22 starters last year. Almost all of that is gone, including Ollie Gordon, who was a phenomenal running back for them, even though last season he was not good. Let's see what happens. I think that Mike Gundy is not someone to count out, but I think there's way too much turnover on that roster to trust right now. And then number 16, UCF. I'm sorry, I don't see anything on UCF that I'm interested in. I know they got a four-star running back who's coming in. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, who should help replace RJ Harvey. But no idea what their quarterback situation is. Scott Frost is back. He won them a national championship when they went undefeated a handful of years ago. But he left, he went to Nebraska, and he failed upwards. So I don't know if Scott Frost is going to be able to turn around UCF nearly as fast as what the Knights fans are hoping for. But we'll wait and see. That's my ranking, 1 to 16. ASU at the top, UCF at the bottom. Let me know what you guys think. Am I absolutely crazy for some of my placings? I think I did a good job, but let me know in the comments. We're going to go ahead and get crazy, and I'm going to give you my bold predictions for the all-conference teams. Coming up next, this is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It's time to talk about our friends over at FanDuel. Summer sports are in full spring right now. So, look, you may be a baseball fan, you may be a golf fan, maybe you're a soccer fan. Whatever it is, though, FanDuel's the best way to make every game more exciting. And besides, you're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach, or maybe you can join them and just place your bets beforehand. I've used FanDuel forever. It's my go-to. There's a widget that lets me track my bets on my phone. Absolutely phenomenal. Easy use, fast payout, same-game parlays, all sorts of good stuff. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers, just bet $5. When you win, not if you win, when you win, you will get $150 in bonus bets. Open the FanDuel app today. or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Thanks, as always, for tuning in to Locked On Sun Devils to make us your first listen of the day. Shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Okay, so here's the thing. Making an all-conference team is not easy. It's 16 teams that you have to sort through. And remember earlier I said a lot of teams are going to be contending. That means a lot of teams have some really good players. And it was difficult for me to put my ASU bias aside. I will not deny that for a second. There's a handful of Sun Devils on here, and spoiler alert, they have the most players. But this is also just a really good football team. But there's also teams that have good players that you just may not realize are better than you think. And the other thing with this is I only have first team. I don't have second team, third team, honorable mention. So my apologies to the programs that do not have anyone on this list. Do not take offense. I have 29 spots, 13 on offense, 13 on defense, 3 on special teams. Let's get started with the offense. Quarterback, I have a handful of options. You know I'm taking Sam Leavitt. Best quarterback in the conference. He absolutely turned it on at the end of last season as the Sun Devils just got red hot in college football, won the Big 12, and took Texas to the wire in the Peach Bowl. They were one play away from winning that game. Sam Leavitt, a massive reason why that was the case. Yeah, he's number one. Now, I will tell you, if there's a number 2, for me, it's Sawyer Robertson, because I think there's a very real chance that Sawyer Robertson leads the conference in passing yards. So definitely keep that in mind. But Sam Leavitt, my number 1. 2 running backs for you. I got Bryson Washington from Baylor and Jaheim White from West Virginia. Bryson is insane. He ran for over 1,200 yards last year. He is a big-time touchdown guy. I expect his role in the passing game to get even bigger. And for an offense at Baylor that I just suspect is going to be insanely potent this upcoming year, I'm betting that Bryson Washington is going to be one of the biggest reasons why. I mentioned Jaheim White earlier for West Virginia. Consecutive 800-yard seasons. I'm taking him to crack 1,000 this year, and I think it might be more than that. West Virginia is a super interesting team to me because I'm not touting them as title contenders in the conference, but I do think that's a bowl team. There's a lot of changes, though. And this is the first year of a new head coach. Well, granted, I mean, Rich Rod was there before, but you're talking over a decade ago, like 15 years ago he was there. It's a culture change. They can't use TikTok in that locker room, which I kind of like, but, to each their own. Regardless, you're not guaranteed to have everything go right for you in year one. I do think Jaheim White will be the most consistent player on either side of the ball. And I think with all of the running backs that left, I don't know if you guys realize this. Cam Scadaboo is gone. DJ Giddens is gone. RJ Harvey is gone. Corey Kiner is gone. The Utah running back is gone. It's a brand new conference of running backs. Jaheim White and Bryson Washington are the lone returners who were in the top 10 last year in the conference. And they're just good at football. Fullback, unless there's someone I don't realize as a fullback, I can't think of a single fullback in the conference. I decided to go with Lincoln Cure, who is an incoming freshman for the Kansas State Wildcats. You look at his recruiting, he's a tight end. He has some H-back in his background. I spoke with Christian Rao from Locked On Kansas State. He told me, expect some wide receiver stuff like that. But that's the closest guy that I can get to because I truly can't find anyone in this conference that plays fullback. Like Stephen Klotz from last year is gone. The Kansas guy from last year is gone. There's not really a fullback in here. I thought about just flat out omitting it, period, and going 2 tight ends. So I'm going with Lincoln Cure just because I wanted to stay as close to the formula as possible. But if there is a guy, I feel like Cure makes the most sense because he does have some HVAC background for him. Wide receiver, 3 receivers, Jordan Tyson, Coy Eakin, and Josh Cameron. All 3 of them from the 3 offenses that I think are going to be numbers 1, 2, and 3. Jordan Tyson, he needs no introduction. He is the number 1 receiver in this conference. He is going to be one of the best receivers in the nation, and he's going to be one of the favorites to win the Fred Biletnikoff Trophy as the nation's best receiver. He's phenomenal. Coy Eakin, Texas Tech. He's returning. He was big-time producer for them last year. He's going to do it again this year, especially because they lost some key pieces on that offense. Baron Morton, who I think is going to have another good year, is going to look at Eakin early and often. I think Coy Eakin is going to be big time this year. And then Josh Cameron. Similar to what I said about Sawyer Robertson potentially leading the league in passing yards, I think Josh Cameron might be the best contestant to lead the league in receiving yards over Jordan Tyson. Very excited for him this year. Tight end, I had a handful of choices, but I did decide to go with Terrence Carter from Texas Tech. There really was a handful of guys for me to take a look at. And ASU's got their own guy too. I like Shimon Mateer, but Terrence Carter's calling my name. And again, I think that offense is going to be really, really good. And Jalen Conyers isn't there, so there's an opening for some tight end production with Texas Tech. I think Baron Morton is going to air the ball out this year. Give me Terrence Carter to be my number one tight end. Offensive line, in no particular order, not going left to right. Spencer Fanu, my apology, I think it's Fanu, and Caleb Lomu, the right tackle and left tackle for Utah, respectively, both made the list. Ben Coleman for ASU, he's moving to center. He made the list. Sam Hecht for TCU and Logan Brown for Kansas round out the offense. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Defensive line, 5 defensive linemen, edge rushers, and interior guys. David Bailey from Texas Tech. I told you you're going to hear about him a lot. We're not remotely done talking about him. Van Fillinger from Utah, Dante Corleone from Cincinnati, and CJ Fight from ASU are interior guys for me that I love. CJ Fight, friend of the podcast, who is trending towards the NFL right now. That guy's a beast. Dante Corleone, he's probably the best interior guy in the conference for me. And Van Fillinger is playing on a good Utah defense. He was pretty darn solid last year and has an opportunity to help Utah rebound this year. I like him a lot. And then the last guy I have is Jack Kelly for BYU. They are having to replace Tyler Batty, who was their sack leader last year. I think that Jack Kelly should be able to step into that role. And BYU's defense is feisty. They're much better than you think. I like him to potentially lead the Cougars this year in sacks. Linebacker, spoiler alert, Utah fans are going to be mad at me for second consecutive year. Linebacker, they have Keyshawn Elliott from ASU, Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech, and Keaton Thomas from Baylor. That's right, no Lander Barton. You guys killed me for it last year. You're going to kill me for it again this year. I understand it was hard to leave him off, but Keyshawn Elliott is elite for ASU. Jacob Martinez is probably the best linebacker in the Pac-12, in the Big 12, and Keaton Thomas is another guy who might be elite. Lander Barton, very, 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 very good. He's not up to their tier as of now. Defensive backs, 5 defensive backs for you. I just said Keaton Thomas at linebacker. Let's try again. DJ McKinley, Colorado, Jontez Williams, Iowa State, Cameron Calhoun from Utah. So McKinley and Williams, they are going to be some of the most overlooked defensive backs in the country this year. I think by the end of the year, there will be far more recognition for them. McKinley's got a massive opportunity in itself to take over for Travis Hunter, but Jontez Williams was very quietly arguably the best defensive back for Iowa State last year, and Darian Porter just got drafted, and Jeremiah Cooper is still there. So he's really, really good. For Cameron Calhoun, I like him a lot. Utah fans, you can inform me. I thought he was a nickel guy. If I'm incorrect, regardless, he's really good, and I like him a lot. My other 2 defensive backs are both safeties, Xavion Alford from ASU, obviously, and AJ Halsey from Houston. Halsey had 4 interceptions last year. I don't see any reason he can't repeat that this year. And again, I do think Houston's going to be better than what they were a year ago by quite a bit. Xavion Alford, he's a future NFL player. He's a friend of the podcast, and he's just good at football. Special teams, my kicker is Gino Garcia. He's on a Texas Tech team that I think is potentially going to lead the conference in scoring, and he's already really good. For punter, Palmer Williams at Baylor. He was the number one punter last year in terms of yards per attempt on his average. He's number one for me. Kick returner, Dylan Edwards from Kansas State. Kind of felt weird to put Dylan Edwards on here considering he's a starting running back, but until they take him off of special teams, he's one of the most productive returners. This would have been Keelan. Oh man, I can't remember his name. He was at BYU, but he transferred to Miami. It absolutely would have been his spot, but he transferred. It's wide open. I'm taking Dylan Edwards. So just a quick recap for you. ASU has the most players with 6. Texas Tech has 5. Baylor and Utah each have 4. Kansas State has 2. West Virginia, Houston, Kansas, TCU, Cincinnati, BYU, Iowa State, and Colorado all have at least 1 player. Add that with Baylor, Utah, and ASU, Texas Tech, and you have 12 teams that were represented in this in this all conference team. I will not apologize for anything else that's balanced, and quite frankly, there's a lot of good players that I acknowledge. If I missed your player, Lander Barton or someone else, hit me up in the comments and let me know why I'm an idiot. Let's go through the major Big 12 awards. That's coming up next. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Again, thank you all so much for making Locked On Sun Devils your first listen of the day. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the all conference awards. We love our first team, second team, third team, all that. But we love the major awards, your MVPs, which I don't have an MVP, but I'll give you one. Offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, freshman, newcomer, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Let's go through it. Offensive player of the year, there's a lot of choices, but last I checked, quarterback is the most important position. I'm going to take the quarterback that I had on first team. Sam Leavitt is your offensive player of the year. Defensive player of the year, there's a lot of guys out here that I think are going to sneak up on people. But the one person that I feel very confident in who's going to blow everyone away this year is David Bailey, the Texas Tech edge rusher, who I will take to lead the conference in sacks. Making that prediction super early. Offensive newcomer of the year, give me Sincere Brown, the wide receiver from Colorado. Had 1,000 yards last year with Campbell University. He is going to help replace basically the entire receiving core. Travis Hunter, of course, I had their names in my head, but brand new receiving core, man. They're replacing the whole thing. Keaton Salter and or Juju Lewis are going to need some help catching passes out wide, and I think Sincere Brown is going to be that dude. He's going to be your go up and get it guy. He's going to be your post up guy. Give me him. I don't know about 1,000 yards, but I do think that with the rest of the newcomers in the conference on offense, I think Sincere is going to be very good this year. Would not be surprised if he was one of the top players in receiving yards by the end of the season. Wouldn't be surprised at all if he was an all-conference mention. Defensive newcomer of the year. Oh, well, David Bailey, transferred from Stanford. So look at that. He's running it once again for another big-time award. He's leading this league in sacks. He's newcomer of the year. Offensive freshman of the year, speaking of Colorado, Juju Lewis. I like Keaton Salter, and there are things that Keaton Salter brings to the Buffaloes that is going to help. Nothing more so than his ability to run, because Shedeur Sanders did not run. That's a whole new element to the offense that you're introducing. But I don't know if he holds down the job all season long, especially because Juju Lewis, his stock with recruiting really went all over the place. I'm pretty sure he was the number one quarterback at one point in time and a 5-star recruit and like a lock for USC. Now he's like a 4-star quarterback and like barely inside the top 10. But that's okay, because he's still just as talented as he was before when he was a 5-star recruit as he is now as a 4-star recruit. Juju is the future of this program. And Keaton is going to have a short leash. Try that again. They're going to want to get Juju out there, and certainly the fans are going to want to get Juju out there. It will happen, And I'll say it happens sooner rather than later. And when he gets out there, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but everyone loves the quarterback position, and he's going to be really good. Defensive freshman of the year. I had a hard time picking this, especially because depth charts are unofficial. So I don't know which freshmen are going to see the most opportunities to get on the field. What I do know is Baylor is replacing their top 3 sack leaders from last year, which opens up an opportunity for Cameron Morgan to step in and be one of their top edge rushers. A 4-star kid. He's one of the highest rated recruits from their class. He might have been the highest rated recruit from Baylor's freshman class that's coming in. I think if there's an opportunity for a freshman in this conference to find immediate playing time, it's going to be a 4-star edge rusher who is seeing a ton of last year's sack producers gone from the team. It's a perfect opportunity for Morgan to find the field. As long as that happens, I feel like that's a pretty good shot for him. Special teams player of the year, kicker and returner. It's just from my all conference teams. Gino Garcia is my kicker for special teams player of the year. Dylan Edwards is my kick returner for special teams player of the year. Offensive lineman of the year, Spencer Fano. He's going to be a first round pick. He's going to be one of the most sought after players next year for teams that need a right tackle. Cough, cough, Arizona Cardinals. Offensive lineman of the year. And if it's not him, it's teammate, Caleb Lomu. By the way, local kid. Defensive lineman of the year. Oh, no, look at that. It's David Bailey again. Wow, David Bailey dominated this, didn't he? He got defensive player of the year. He got newcomer of the year for defense. He got defensive lineman of the year. He's a first team all conference. Man, what a year for David Bailey, future first team or first round pick. Coach of the year, it's Kenny Dillingham because he's going to run it back. And he's going to take ASU to win the conference, which, by the way, I'm taking ASU to win it. As of right now, I will take ASU over Baylor. But again, it depends on the day because I've said Texas Tech the last few weeks, and now I'm recording and I'm saying Baylor. MVP of the league, you got to go with the quarterback. It's Sam Leavitt. Easy as that. I want to go through stat leaders real quick before we get out of here. I am saying Sam Leavitt will lead the league in passing yards. Sawyer Robertson, I think, is going to be right behind him, and don't sleep on Josh Hoover. Rushing yards, Jaheim White. Yeah, I'm sure you thought I was going to go Bryson Washington. Maybe I could have gone Kanye Udo for ASU. Nope. Jaheim White, West Virginia. Consecutive 800-yard seasons. He's cracking 1,000 this year. He may be the focal point of that offense. Give me him to lead the conference. Rushing touchdowns, I will go Bryson Washington. He had double-digit last year. Jaheim White had 7 last year. Bryson is going to command that backfield. He could lead the league in rushing yards. I certainly think he leads the league in rushing touchdowns. Receiving yards, give me Jordan Tyson. Simple as that. He's the best receiver in the conference. He had 1,100 yards last year. He's getting more than that. Receiving touchdowns, again, I thought about Tyson, who had 10. I'm going Josh Cameron for Baylor. Sawyer Robertson's good, man. I think he throws 30 touchdowns this year, which would be crazy because I'm still taking Sam Leavitt to lead the league in passing touchdowns. So give me multiple quarterbacks with 30 touchdowns. But Josh Cameron, I think, look, Baylor's got a lot of weapons on offense, but I think that Josh Cameron should be able to separate himself as the top guy. If not, then keep an eye out on Michael Trigg, who is their tight end. Would not be surprised if Michael Trigg led the conference in touchdowns. We'll go ahead and go to defense. Tackle leader, it's Jacob Rodriguez. He did it last year. He's going to do it again this year. Sacks, oh, look, it's David Bailey. Going to lead the league in sacks. Interceptions, I'm taking Jontez Williams, the Iowa State corner. Quietly had 4 last year. Darian Porter is gone. They're going to need someone to become even better than they were last year. I think that's Jontez, who's going to be one of the best kept secrets in college football. Give me him to lead the conference in interceptions. What do you guys think? What am I absolutely bonkers on when it comes to the stat predictions? What awards did I get wrong? Who was not on the all-conference team that absolutely got snubbed? Let me know in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter at RichieBrads36, the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, hit subscribe, turn on notifications. You will get an update whenever we post new content. I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning into Locked On Sun Devils to make us your first listen of the day. Shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. A lot of guest appearances this week. Tomorrow, I am sitting down with Locked On Kansas State host Christian Rao. Later this week, I'm sitting down with Locked On Texas Tech host Chris Level. And there will be more stuff around the corner as well. We're going around the conference. We're going to speak to other people as well. So now's never been a better time to subscribe. I'll catch you all later. Till then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.